Do you want to learn how to make soy yogurt and tofu from scratch? Well, stick around, because that's what we're doing today. Whoa!
Oh, I gotta turn it off. Go big or go home. It's like milking a soy cow.
Look at that! It coagulates quick.
Greetings and welcome to, or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we do lots of fun things from my own recipes, to cookbook reviews, live interviews, and lots of other fun stuff. For the last few weeks, we've been experimenting, and when I say we, I mean my wife, Wooly, with making our own soy yogurt and tofu. So today, I'm gonna follow her around the kitchen and show you her process step by step. And stick around to the end because I'm gonna tell you how much all of this would have cost to buy and how much we saved by making it ourselves. But first, I'd love to give a shout out to some of the people who've said hello to us in the comments down below. Pamela from Pontiac, Illinois, Jesse from North Las Vegas, Ria from Nanaimo, British Columbia, Ian and Claire from Kettering in the United Kingdom, Anne in Northern Ontario, Kimmy from California, Greg and Juanita from Bella Vista, Arkansas, Maureen, a Brit who now lives in Spain. She told me to say that, I think. She wrote it in the comments, so I'm taking that as her telling me to say that. And now I have. Moving on. Charlene and her husband from Texas didn't give me a name, just said her husband. I'd like to think his name is actually husband, or she refers to him as that. But if not, let us know in the comments down below what his actual name is. And Magdala didn't actually let me know where she's from in the world, but I do know where she's from in the internet. She's from our Mighty Network. What is our Mighty Network? Well, for the low price of a crappy cup of coffee a month, you can join the Mighty Network for things like members-only live streams, early previews of videos, and a whole lot more. Oh, what's this? Where'd I get my super awesome hoodie from? Well, you might recall that recently we did an audience contest to design merch. This was one of the winners. You can get this and all of the other winning designs on our merch store. We got hoodies, v-necks, and regular t-shirts. Let us know in the comments below which of our new favorite merch is your favorite. If you haven't subscribed to us here, please do so right now. But if you have, and you haven't subscribed to us over on Instagram, please take a second and do so there as well. We're on there as PB with Jeremy. All right, let's get to the kitchen with Wooly.
So, I've soaked a lot of soybeans. I've soaked 3 cups of soybeans overnight because I want to make yogurt and tofu. This is going to make 2 blocks of tofu that are, I'd say, comparable to a block that you buy in the store. Like a yogurt tub of yogurt. So first you have to drain and rinse the soaked beans. You have to run water. Your partner might be trying to make a video and they might not like you running the water, but you have to do it.
The sink is now a character in the show.
Drain it out. And then because there's so many, I'm gonna do this in some batches in the Vitamix, but if you were only doing 1 batch, which would be 1 cup of beans soaked, then you could put them all in your blender at the same time. So you just want to just cover them about like that. That's just enough. But you don't want to add too much water here because you're going to add more water to the pot.
Right.
So I like to blend the soybeans for about a minute to make it really smooth, as you can see here. So it's smooth and it's kind of like a thick, kind of like a milkshake. Doesn't smell like a milkshake. Okay, so once it's pureed, you're gonna pour it into a large stock pot. And as you can see here, I actually have 2 big pots because it's gonna make it a lot easier after I strain it later, that I just have another pot ready. If you only have 1, you can definitely make it work using a bowl. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put a bit of water in here so we don't waste it. So I'm just gonna... So now you're gonna add water, and because I started with so many beans, I'm actually gonna add 12 cups of water. So if you started with 1 cup of soybeans that you soaked, then you would add 4 cups of water. So for every 1 cup you soak, you're gonna add 4 cups of water. So I soaked 3 cups, so that's how you get 12. What I could have done, I'll start it now, is I actually could have put the 12 cups in, so while I was blending, the water would already start to heat up, and that would save you some time. Because, I haven't mentioned already, this is actually quite a time-consuming process. You need probably about an hour and a half to do it.
So is that an hour and a half to do everything?
Yes.
Not counting the amount of time it takes for the yogurt to go in the Instant Pot.
Exactly. There's 12. So now I'm going to stand here and I'm going to stir it because I do not want it to scorch on the bottom. I did that the first time. Took me the rest of the day to clean the pot. So use something with a bit of a edge, like this wooden spatula, and make sure you're scraping the bottom. So you kind of do have to stand around and do this.
But you know, you could put your laptop or a phone or an iPad beside you and watch some PB&J episodes while you're doing that. You know, maximize your time.
It takes about probably, if you hadn't started the water like I hadn't, it's probably going to take 15 minutes, maybe 20.
Of stirring. So what are you looking for? Like, what's going to happen? How do you know it's ready?
So it's going to start to froth up, and the froth is going to start to go like it's going to boil over. And as soon as it does that, you can turn it off, and we'll move on to the next step.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
What are you watching?
Nothing?
I make some corn butter.
Nothing. I never have time to watch us. So now I have time while I'm stirring the pot.
This makes me nervous because I put in some jokes that Willie might not appreciate into the edit.
What?
But you don't watch the show.
I know. I watch it every time now.
I might be in trouble.
Hungry.
If you're gonna be cranky, you will eat toast.
What do you think of the show, Willie?
This is a good show.
Whoa.
Oh, I gotta turn it off. You don't want to let it overflow because then you have a big scalding mess to clean up. So I just in time. All right, so that means it's ready for the next step, which is to put it through the nut milk bag or cheesecloth. This nut milk bag is what I have been using, but you can see the opening is very narrow and it was really frustrating and super messy. So we're gonna try something new today, which is this nut milk bag that zips into this little handle thing.
We'll put a link to this new mesh bag down below. It'll be in our kitchen section of our creator cart on Cart Hopper.
And around and around and around. Ta-da! I'm just gonna scoop some in. If you're not doing as much liquid as I am, then you can probably just pour it through.
Well, because it takes so much time to make it, you might as well make more at once, right?
Yeah, and the thing about, like, if you just want to make tofu, you could use this much and you'd probably get at least 3 or 4 blocks of tofu. At least 3, possibly a bit more. And then you can always freeze. So if you use a big amount, you can always freeze. So you can see the soy milk is coming out. And what's left in the bag is called okara. And okara is the soybean pulp. A lot of people save it and they use it in baking. You can look up online for okara recipes. I have not yet experimented cooking with it because I feel like between the tofu and the yogurt, it's kind of a lot or enough soy for our family to be consuming. And we want to consume other plants as well. So I haven't been using the okara, but I want to use it in the garden. Right now we've just been composting it.
So if you want to see a video of us trying to find out ways to use this okara, let us know in the comments down below, and maybe that's something we'll do in the future.
I really like this bag so far. I'm going big. Go big or go home. Oh, it's so much better than that other bag. Oh, people of the world. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's like milking a soy cow.
But with no tears.
With no tears. You should have seen how messy this was with that little nut milk bag. Oh my gosh. That was part of the reason it took me so long. It would take me 20 minutes just to do this part because it was so small. Oh, so heavy.
So this...
Look at this thing.
So you highly approve of this bag?
Yes.
So you're going to clean out that pot and go back to that one?
Yeah, I think if you had a large bowl, you could also try that. I think you just have to make do with what you have, you know? Don't go out and buy new things. Don't worry about it. Oh, look, this is what happens if you don't stir. This happens to the whole bottom. It gets scorched and then really hard to clean up. So luckily I just got the edge and it's just a little, not even scorched. So I'm just gonna give that a good scrub before we go back so that on round 2, because you do have to cook it some more, the round 2 is less scorchy because a lot of the pulp is gone. So at this point it seemed easier to take the bag off of the ring. And actually I could have kept it over the other pot. Silly me. It's very hot though, so to squeeze it, we're just debating on twisting or what would be the best method here. Maybe you have some tips for hot soy milk because I don't know yet. So I'm taking out some soy milk that I'm going to use for soy yogurt. About 3 of these, what are their pint mason jars? And I don't fill them all the way because I actually make cashew soy yogurt. So I'm going to leave some room for when I add the cashews. So we set the yogurt, soy milk aside to cool down a little. And we carry on with the tofu making. So we want to cook this longer. And the longer you cook it, the less beany it is. But it doesn't really matter because we're making tofu and tofu tastes kind of beany. We keep cooking it. We're going to cook it for about 15 minutes. But you don't have to stand here quite as much for this one.
So how do you know it's ready?
You can just do it by time this time.
Okay.
So I can just set a timer for 15 minutes.
But what's going to happen to the milk?
It'll boil. And you just want to keep checking in and giving it a little stir. But you can like clean up a little and then keep just checking in. Nothing's going to happen. We're just heating it up. And then we're going to, so we'll cook it for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to take its temperature. Probably let it cool for a couple minutes because we want the temperature to be around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is the temperature we need to be able to make the tofu.
A few minutes later.
So now it's about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to add in some nigari, which is coagulant, that will turn this into tofu. So you don't have to use nigari, but I found that for us, it's been the best. It's worked the most efficiently and easily. Some people use Epsom salts. You'd have to look online to figure out what other alternatives there are. So you stir that in. So it's a teaspoon per liter of liquid. And I have about 2.5 liters here. So I did 2.5 teaspoons. And then I'm just gonna stir it in and let it sit. And you can already see it's starting to coagulate. So you're looking for it to look like curdled.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Okay, so now we're gonna put it back.
Look at
in the
that.
bag.
It coagulates quick.
Okay, so we're gonna pour it. It looks really good, actually. So we don't need all that. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's basically formed tofu. I've never seen it be this coagulated. It's gonna be some good tofu. So you pour all the curds through. Now, if you don't have a press, this is where you would let this, like you wanna first drain it out as much as you can. But then you could leave it in here. And you could put a plate on top and then something heavy to push it down as well so that all the liquid drains out. We are going to use our press, but I'm going to try and get a bunch of it's so hot.
Watch your pinkies.
Yeah, so we're going to try and get a bunch of liquid out because otherwise I have to keep draining the tofu press, which isn't, it's not a bad thing. Okay, so I'm going to pour or spoon it into the press if you have a press.
If you want to get some of these tools that we've mentioned, they will be on our card hopper. That'll be in the link down below. So like that nigari will be there and some tofu presses as well.
This one's a bit smaller. Wow, this is really great. It made a lot this time. It really coagulated so nicely. I think maybe I haven't been putting enough nigari in it before. I mean, it still made a extra firm tofu. So you can decide how firm you want your block of tofu. And the way you do that is by how long you let it press for. So what I do is I'll look in here and there's already a ton of water. So before you even press it, I'm going to pour that out. So that's the tofu. Now we're going to finish the yogurt. First pour the soy milk into the blender, then add a cup of cashews.
Could you use any other nuts?
Probably. I don't know. I haven't tried other nuts.
I'm the only other nut she's tried.
Don't put you in the blender. That'd
What?
be gross. And not plant-based. So put the cup of cashews in the blender and then add a half a cup of yogurt starter. Well, I don't know how much yogurt starter you would use if you bought starter, but you can use either half a cup of plant-based yogurt that you've purchased from the store to use as your starter. You can buy starter, or if you've previously made yogurt, you can use some of your old yogurt, which is what I'm trying for the first time. Usually I've had some store-bought yogurt I've tried using probiotics, but my probiotics were too old. So you can also buy probiotic capsules and put, probably divide about 4 capsules into the batch. And then you blend it up. I do it for a minute to get it really smooth so that cashews are not chunky. And then I pour it back into jars. I put it in the Instant Pot on the yogurt setting for 14 hours because I like it nice and tangy. What's been happening is it's been thick on top and then there's like still some water in the bottom. So we have a yogurt cheese funnel, which I've been using to thicken it. Last time we left it too long and we did end up with kind of more like a cream cheese. So I think what I might do is try just blending a jar and see if when you blend that liquid back in, if it's too runny or not, or pour some of that liquid out and then blend it.
So in the morning, we'll see if this worked.
Yeah.
The next morning.
All right, this is the great test of today. Oh, wow. So you can see that it's thick on top and it's got a lot of liquid on the bottom.
What is that?
It's yogurt. So let's just see.
Ew.
Not ew, stop it.
Sorry, it's just
It tastes good. You should try it when it's all stirred
It
up.
needs to be mixed up.
Put the whey back in. Oh, I think it's gonna be good. You have yogurt.
So don't get freaked out if you see this. It's okay. It just needs to be stirred.
It's quite tangy, so if you like it less tangy, put it in for fewer hours, but I like a good tang.
I find like 30 seconds in an immersion blender makes this like the perfect yogurt consistency, especially once it cools. It's gonna be a little watery right now. Willie likes it really thick. I like it kind of in the middle. So we'll put this in the fridge to cool. Yeah, it made like that much-ish. A little bit less because the containers aren't completely full. So that's how you make yogurt and, tofu.
So as you can see, the yogurt is quite thin. And the reason for that is because the yogurt you buy in the grocery store has things in it to thicken it up. So if you don't really like it thin, then when you take it out of the Instant Pot and you see that liquid, you can try and scoop up the thicker bits and then add a little bit of liquid back in, or you can mix it up like I did and then put it through a nut milk bag or a cheesecloth or something like that to try and get a bit of extra whey out of it again till it's the consistency you like.
I hope you enjoyed our little tutorial on how to make your own soy products. And now you're probably wondering, well, how much did this cost us and how much did we save? This made us roughly 2 really large blocks of tofu as well as like a container and a half of non-dairy yogurt. Based on the cost of a low-end grocery store here in Canada, I calculated that to buy this, it would have cost us $16.15. So how much did it cost us to make it, not factoring in things like our own time, the tofu presses, the nets, any other equipment? Just the actual ingredients, which includes the soybeans, the coagulant, the cashews. This cost us roughly $3.50, which is a savings of $12.65. And if we didn't use those cashews, it would actually be quite a bit more. Now that probably doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if you were to do this once a week for a year, that would be a savings of $657. If you were to do this over the course of 10 years, that would be a savings of $6,578. So as you can see, doing things like this on your own start to add up. Now I know that some of the people who watch our channel have soy allergies, so if you want to see us experimenting with other kinds of tofu, let us know in the comments down below and perhaps we'll do another video like this. Speaking of liking, don't forget to do that down below so YouTube knows to send this content out to other people. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And here is what YouTube wants you to watch next. Right there. That's the video. They're like, hey, you know what? This is the one for them. They're gonna like it. And if they're wrong, you let me know and I will have a talking to YouTube. I had no direct contact to YouTube. But I appreciate they give us a platform to hang out with you guys.